In this presentation, I'm going to talk about how to take good photos of your ceramic work. Photos are the vehicle for sharing and displaying your artwork in a virtual space. They're almost as important as the artwork itself. The topics that we're going to cover today are background and context, lighting, and positioning. A couple of important vocabulary terms that will be coming up are focal point, which is the area of the photo that the eye settles on, or an area of focus, and subject. The subject is the piece of pottery or the object that you're photographing. Background and context. Before photographing, consider the area that you're photographing in. You should choose a space that is free from clutter and background noise or anything that might distract from your subject. Spaces that are not ideal would be a kitchen counter with clutter or other objects on it. These objects will take attention away from your subject matter. A dining table with chairs and other objects in view. Too much background noise will take attention away from your subject. A desk area with computer equipment. This is not an ideal space because of how close all of the equipment is and that it's not able to be moved. Spaces that are ideal would be an area of the kitchen counter that doesn't have clutter or that the clutter or objects have been moved. An outdoor deck or patio is a great place to take photos, especially where the deck meets the wall. That is a good place to take photos because there are no objects in the way. You could also stage your own photo setup by using poster board, cardboard, fabric, or other materials to eliminate all of the background noise in your photo. The next topic I want to cover is lighting. Without proper lighting, your subject won't be seen, or it won't be seen well. Lighting can be controlled with the clever use of artificial light in your home, which are lamps and ceiling lights. But daylight is the best way to illuminate your subject without fuss. The only issue with choosing daylight is that finding a space that is lit by daylight while keeping the background in mind can be a bit of a challenge. A few examples of artificial lighting that you might consider are a task lamp or any lamp that's flexible or mobile that you could position so that your object is perfectly illuminated. Ceiling lights and a table lamp. I use a table lamp that the shade is removed from so that it's a little bit brighter. So you may want to consider removing the shade if you are taking photos in a dark space or in a space that doesn't have a lot of natural light. You may also want to consider using more than one of these to light your object. One of these may not be bright enough and it may create really harsh shadows on your subject. So just consider using more than one of these artificial lights when taking your photo. The alternative is finding natural light. You can find natural light inside by a window or outside on a nice day. When you are photographing inside using a window, you'll want to make sure that the object or the subject is lit by the window and not in front of the window. So in other words, you want to make sure that you can see the details on your subject and that they're not in shadow. If you take your object outside, you'll want to make note of where the sun is as well and not photograph too many shadows. Positioning your subject has to do with where your subject is located. Where your subject is within the photo frame is important. Your subject should be the focal point in your photo, but you may include other objects to bring attention to your subject. So you see in this slide that these two examples have a few objects in the background. The photo on the left has several dishes that the artist is trying to showcase, but they included the use of plants and fruit to show the use of the objects. The photo on the right is being held by a hand. It's been taken outside, so you can see a tree in the background. However, the cup is the focus. The hand tells how big the cup is, and it also shows how it's used. but there is not a lot of distraction in the photo. Other objects in view might encourage the way the viewer feels about the subject. This is often used in advertisements to encourage a certain feeling of comfort or coolness in a subject to make the person looking at the subject want to purchase it and experience that for themselves. When you are positioning your subject, that is giving the viewer information about the subject. So when you take your ceramic object and you show it from different angles, it's important to consider that the person looking at the object has not experienced that object like you have. So showing it from a front view or from a side view or even the bottom and showcasing the details are all important information to provide to the viewer. Finally, consistency in your photos unifies your portfolio. So if you have several photos that are all in different backgrounds and different lighting settings, your portfolio is not going to be very consistent. Carefully take background lighting and positioning and the things that we've covered in this presentation into consideration when photographing your finished work.